Hello everybody, I am Chef Adrienne Falcone-Godsell, the Food Whisperer, formerly your favorite foodie here in Tampa, Florida. And we are having topics on all things food related. And with me today I have Christy Slavin, Professor Posture. And we're going to explain a little bit about ourselves, and then we'll get into our topic today, which is going to be alignment and digestion. So, Christy, would you like to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. I came to posture therapy as someone in large amounts of pain. I had knee pain, I had sciatica, I had a frozen shoulder, I had hip pain, and utilizing nothing but posture therapy, I no longer suffer from any of those issues. So
That's huge.
I know what this can do for your body.
That's huge.
It really is.
Yeah, so I am a holistic personal chef in Tampa, Florida, author, got a couple books out there, and I have some of the postural alignment therapy in that as well.
You do?
In The Real Language of Food, Constructive Recipes for a Healthier You, which you can find on Amazon. I fell into natural foods 25 years ago, and when I learned the direct connection between food and health, I knew all of my culinary expertise and experiences that I've had over the years. This is what my calling was and is. So I have spent the last 25 years learning, honing my skills, finding simple, easy ways for people to make healthier foods, meals for themselves. So I experienced postural alignment therapy back when there was a book that came out called, The Cheat System Diet, and it had the postural alignment therapy in that. And they were talking about how you're not going to lose weight, release weight, until you strengthen your core. And lo and behold, and I'm like, what's this all about? So I tried it for the 30 days with progressive exercises that were in that, and lo and behold, I felt better, and my shape was better, and I love that music. And it wasn't, I wasn't like trying to lose weight, but I just wanted to see what it would do fitness-wise for me, and it worked. So, and then we met how long ago?
Almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years ago is when Christy and I met, and we're just very synergistic with what we do, so.
Absolutely.
So here we go. Digestion and alignment.
If we start at the beginning, let's think about what position the average person is in during most of their day. Exactly.
And even if you're cooking, you're
perfect. She's demonstrating all of these perfectly.
and it's like, oh, you're getting so intense with your work, and just look at how avid they're in it. But it's like, no.
That, we call it forward flexed position, which just means kind of rounded forward. The position that you just saw Adrienne put herself in 3 different times, it is taking all of your internal organs and basically crushing them. It's taking them out of a position where they have space to perform their duties, the things that they are supposed to be doing, and smushing them into a space that is a quarter of the size of what they need. If any of us are, smashed into a little tiny box that's not as big as we're accustomed to, we can't do what it is we're designed to do, and neither can any of our internal organs, the stomach, the intestines. Nobody can function well when they go from having this much space to operate and function to this much space to operate and function.
So it's kind of like a singer who needs to be singing from their diaphragm, and instead they're singing from their nose.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
So, or when you're doing yoga or Pilates and having that breath work.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing that it comes to our digestion.
Absolutely.
So one thing that I had learned early on in my nutrition days in a former life is that when after conception, the first things that are formed in the human body are the spinal column and the gastrula. That kind of says it all.
Says
People
it
don't
all.
know gut-brain health because the gastrula is the part that forms into the colon, the intestine, correct?
Yes.
And then the spinal column goes straight up to our brain. So what does that have to do with digestion?
When
Having the non-crunchy, what does that have to do with things?
let's just start with the cervical spine, meaning the spine that is encompassed within your neck. If you're constantly here and you're attempting to swallow something, granted you might very well be in this position when you're attempting to swallow something, you're not going to be able to fully get that piece of food or even liquid all the way down efficiently into the stomach, the very beginning of the digestive system. So when we're all crunched up here, you have to think nerves are impinged. It's not just the actual process of the muscles pushing the food and or liquid down into your stomach. The nerves aren't able to encourage those muscles to do those things. So we can start right here with that forward head posture and the nerves being impinged back at the base of the spine.
Do you notice me sitting up straighter just as Christine's talking?
Everyone does that.
Oh, wait a second. That's what that whole sit
Sit
bones
bones
thing comes
is
into
about.
play.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And sitting on them evenly, because that's another topic that we'll actually tackle on a different day.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting all on one cheek, one sit bone, that's going to mess with your digestion as well. But we can get into that in that could be a whole nother discussion.
Okay, we'll get into that one another time.
But if we're talking about
Just alignment,
yeah,
posture.
if we're talking about how digestion is affected by the rest of the spine being in that curved position, because we've talked cervical, now let's talk thoracic. So we're here, so your rib cage is basically now sitting on top of your stomach and kind of scrunching it into a very small
So we're in a permanent crunch.
yes,
Ooh.
basically our bodies are in a permanent crunch.
Okay.
And the digestive system will not allow itself to be activated in a way that will encourage the food to flow smoothly.
Get the flow flowing.
Right.
Keep the flow flowing.
From intake to output.
Okay. All right. So what I know as far as food and digestion go is the quality of what we're eating really determines the quality of our digestion.
Absolutely.
And fiber, the importance of fiber. And it's interesting because working with my traditional Chinese medicine doctor, Dr. Dawn Molina with Tampa Bay Holistic Wellness, she's very much into nutrition as well. I know you're into nutrition too.
Absolutely.
And well, as we get into these conversations, you'll learn more about us. But her magic number is 40 grams of fiber. I've always known 30 grams of fiber, at least a minimum of 30 grams of fiber a day. And then upwards if you're doing a detox, because the fiber is what grabs all the toxins out of our system to flush out one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that when I do my 40 grams of fiber a day, everything is perfect. I mean, even my energy is perfect. And I know that when I do my postural exercises that I have done through the years, and the latest set that you had given me to do, assigned to me to do, even those make a difference. And it's fabulous just to wake up and do those literally 5 minutes, 3 minutes in the morning. It's amazing, and it gets the flow flowing much easier.
Absolutely.
And those are hip ones that
Yeah.
you gave me.
Mhm.
So where do the hips come into play with digestion?
So the pelvic structure, the hip bones, that will house a lot of the lower digestive organs. Your intestines kind of snake through there. The colon is housed there. If, again, we're going to go back to that C-shaped posture that so many people are in all day, you're actually, I'm going to turn to the side here for a second, you're actually taking that lumbar spine, which is connected into your pelvis, and you're rounding it into basically a letter C.
So instead of being like this,
Right.
to be able for things to go from point A to point Z, you have this, so everything is getting congested.
Right. Everything's getting stuck.
Okay.
Right about here. And that's, give or take,
Right.
where the hip structure would be. So it's all getting clogged up. We need that bony structure. We need the pelvis in order to be able to stand up and move and exist. But in that C-shaped posture, it's a block. It's a blockage, basically, because all of the digestive organs are being shoved back against the spine and the hip bones, and nothing can flow the way that it's supposed to flow.
So then that's where we have like partially digested food just sitting in our gut,
Exactly.
which then can cause other issues.
Many other issues.
Okay, I mean, just like from reading about different issues that are out there, like what IBS and IBD and constipation and leaky gut and all that. If we just have everything sitting and fermenting instead of being able to get all the way through, it's not going to work.
It's going to cause issues. There's going to be an overabundance of the digestive acids that flood that area.
Rumor has it.
Rumor has it. And that will become eventually a deteriorating condition for those intestinal walls. Rumor has it, from research I've done,
Yeah.
that those,
Talking from postural,
right,
knowing what happens with the muscles and the ligaments and the joints and everything.
exactly.
So how does postural therapy help?
We can retrain your muscles to perform in the way they used to when you weren't stuck basically here. Muscles love to learn. They will learn any habit that you teach them. Right now, the habit for most people that the muscles are being taught is this habit. Those muscles, it is a form of work that they're doing because they weren't designed to be here. You were supposed to have a small curve in your neck, a small curve in the lumbar spine, with the intersecting area, nice and straight. What we're doing is we're losing the curve here, most people, in the cervical spine. We're creating a curve in the mid-back around the rib cage, and we're also losing the curve at the low back in that lumbar spine because of this position. So we have to wake up certain muscles and retrain them to do work that they may not have done in a decade or more, and then we have to calm down certain muscles and teach them not to do the work that has been their norm.
So how much time and energy and effort has to be put into this? Like minimum and maximum?
Minimum is 10 minutes a day.
Okay.
If you're just starting out, like you've been doing posture therapy for a very long time, so you can put in that 3 to 5 minutes a day, and your body is fairly aligned. It just needs a little reminder every day.
Right.
Posture therapy is exercise based, so just like any other activity, if you don't use it, you lose it. those muscles will forget these very beneficial habits if you cease reminding them. However, if you're new at this, a minimum of 10 minutes a day, a maximum of 20.
So is there a chair exercise that just seated right now that you could give us an example that would help the everyday Joe, just to see why I have you with me and why I want to sing all about postural alignment therapy?
There are
one that we can do
so many.
we go?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna have you do, Adrian, is sit a little forward on your chair. There you go. You're gonna find those sit bones. Okay. Some people might need to close their eyes briefly to ascertain if you are weighted evenly on the right and the left sit bone.
And it really does work, by the way.
It takes away your visual cues, and it really makes you focus in, hone in on what the body is actually experiencing. So I'm gonna have you make kind of little pseudo fists, and you're gonna put your knuckles at your temples. Now this is gonna help her upper body get out of that forward lean and help to create the curve in her.
And it's moving me backwards.
Exactly.
She's saying it if you're seeing me sway.
So you're going to attempt, you're gonna do the best you can to keep your knuckles on your temples.
Okay.
Keep your thumbs pointing down towards the ground.
All right.
Bring your elbows towards each other at approximately nose height. These are just the general recommendations.
Okay.
And we're gonna try for like 5 or 10 of these. You could do up to 25. Now, as you can see, because she's a little bit of a side angle, her elbows are only reaching chin height. And that's actually really good. Most people's elbows are much, much lower, but it's just because of the tension in the shoulders and the
yeah, they're not going any higher.
yeah, the chest and that
I'm like,
upper
I
back.
can get them higher. You know.
We want to naturally let those muscles relearn these habits. So we're working within the confines of what the body knows. The body knows a nice contracted pec muscle because we're always like this. And we're working within that, but then we're asking it to open up. When those elbows flare, we're asking those pec muscles to open up and release and relax, which will then in turn ask her upper back muscles to contract into a tighter state and do some work.
That felt good.
You can do that sitting, standing.
All right. So try that. Just do that between what you said, 10 and 25 times a day. And let's see how that works for you. Thank you, Christy, for being here today. And we have lots more that we're going to be talking about.
It was great to spend time with you today.
Yay.